Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game. So today I got a super fun, super exciting, and super unexpected video for you guys today because we are playing Test Chamber by Platonic Reactor. This is a brand new Virtual Boy game. That's not something you expect to hear in 2025. And not only is it a game exclusively for the Virtual Boy and emulation that will handle it, it's also basically the Talos Principle meets Portal in a full 3D environment that somehow runs at a good frame rate. And it's not like the Virtual Boy was the lowest test hardware back in the day. It had a pretty capable CPU, but honestly what's on display here is mind-bendingly complex as far as I was actually drawing the image to the screen. Before I get too far involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe, and ring that notification bell definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But honestly, Test Reactor is just straight up a 15 out of 10 when it comes to the technical showcase of what can be done by a developer on the Virtual Boy. This just absolutely is mind-boggling, and it even runs in the first place, because I said this was basically a mix of Talos Principle and Portal. You're going to see a portal gun and the ability to create portals and traverse through the world in this demo, and that is just absolutely something I never would have expected the Virtual Boy to be able to handle. And of course, because it is based on both the Talos Principle as well as something like Portal, you're going to have a not companion cube in the game as well. And you'll see basically this is going to lead you through different test chambers just like in Aperture Sciences, except it's in a completely different universe, and you're going to have to learn exactly every single thing the game expects of you. You'll see here we pick up a cube and we're able to move to the top, but there is a basic light up panel there that if you stand on it, it's going to lift up a lift. So now the question is, how do you get that cube up onto the lift and move it around? Well, if you move around the corner, you're going to see there's 2 more cubes here, and you're going to need to make stairs out of 3 to be able to progress to the next level. So just like any other competent puzzle game, Test Chamber is basically going to guide you through the mechanics of the game until it decides to get complex and absolutely break your brain in the process. But a full 3D environment in something like the Virtual Boy is definitely unique. There was one game on the Virtual Boy that had that quasi 3D environment, but this just absolutely blows it out of the water. And this is basically done with apparently convex 2D polygons and the way that some of the interrupts work on the Virtual Boy CPU to be able to draw some of the frame image to the screen. Because again, if you take a look here, of course this is emulation. It's not very easy to capture a real Virtual Boy. This is something that feels basically futuristic and almost like if a Virtual Boy 2 had come out. But now that we have all of the cubes, you're going to be able to go ahead and make stairs, and you will see there is a jump in the game as well, because you basically can't throw that cube up, you can just throw it in front of you. But it is just mind-bendingly cool to see something like this work in 2025, and it's not like there is some sort of massive Virtual Boy ROM hacking or fan game community out there. It really is a platform where you don't expect to get anything new, and if you actually do, you're pleasantly surprised. And when it's incredibly good as something like Test Chamber, you're even that much more happy to get it. You'll see here you are loading into a new area. Seems like a small loading period before you can get to the next test chamber, because of course there isn't a ton of overhead on something like the Virtual Boy to handle all of this, so I'm sure there was a lot of unique coding involved, and this is a custom engine written by the developer basically to make this all work. And you'll see here now we have the ability to put portals onto certain textures on the wall. It can be ever so slightly hard to tell the difference because of course we're only doing this in red, one singular color, and black, but you will get the hang of it. And honestly, I thought I'd already solved the puzzle, but I even got turned around myself and basically went back to the beginning of it. Just like in Portal, sometimes that spatial awareness does take a minute to get used to, and here definitely is going to be the exact same thing. But you'll see, if we go back through that portal, we're going to be able to actually make a new portal to the end of the map, and that is going to make all the difference in the world, because you have a left trigger and a right trigger portal, and by utilizing those both intelligently, you're going to be able to build a path through to the next test chamber. And that again, not only is an amazing technical showcase to even make this work, but the game design is so incredibly competent that you actually feel accomplished when you get through one test chamber and move on to the next. You'll see here I was finally able to find the door so I can move on. Now this game doesn't have music everywhere. It's actually kind of sparsely used, and I think that's actually really intelligent design. You're going to get footstep sound effects, you're going to get different sound effects in the game, but they only use music to punctuate certain key moments in the game. So go ahead and listen for 45 seconds and I'll be right back to tell you a lot more about how wild this game truly is. I mean, honestly, it's not like the Virtual Boy ever had the best sound quality in the world. It was always chiptunes, but it works so elegantly here. And you'll see now that we have fallen into that pit, we have to restart the test chamber. So you got to grab our buddy here, not the companion cube, maybe just the buddy cube, whatever you want to call it. And that is a lot of the fun in this game. But again, just the level of technicality on display here, it really is hard to believe that this works on a Virtual Boy, but it will work on flash cartridges. Now, there's only a few emulators out there that'll run this correctly. Medefend doesn't work, and unfortunately right now, Red Viper on the 3DS also throws an error up, but I'm sure that will get patched in the future. And I love being able to look outside of that portal and realize we're basically clipping outside of the game engine's world in and of itself. But you have to look for patterns that are darker on the wall, and once that reticle goes to a bright red, you're going to be able to create a portal through it. So now we actually have the ability to go and drop down into this next section of the game, but we'll hold off on that in just a moment. You'll see here in the start menu you have a bunch of different options, including graphical presets if you want to actually run the ceilings and the floors, or if you want to remove them to get a higher frame rate, and you can basically just use different graphic presets there. You can do the preset for graphics, for balance, or performance, and it's nice the developer actually gave us all those different options. You can prioritize the graphical performance at the expense of frame rate, you can prioritize frame rate at the expense of graphics, or you can kind of blend whatever you want to make your own experience. But now that we have that portal on the wall behind that grate there, we've completely bypassed the water or maybe lava because it is red after all, it'll kill us, and we're into the next section of the level. But right here is where Test Chamber stops teaching you how to do stuff and now expects you to figure out the puzzle on your own, because you're going to see the door to exit the test chamber, and you have that pressure plate on the ground as well. If we stand on that, it opens up, and we have all of these different walls here. We can actually create the portals on the wall, so we can go back to the original area in this test chamber. And obviously we need to use this not companion cube, registered trademark by Valve of course, to get through that hole and put it on the floor. But the question is now, how do you do that if the only wall over here is actually portable if you put that block on the pressure pad in the first place? You're basically at a standstill, and that of course is where a lot of fun comes, trying to figure out everything going on. But I'm going to move over the developer's own trailer to show you later into the game, so I don't spoil how to solve this, because I really do want you to figure it out on your own if you want to play it, because this is the first time the game basically tells you you need to figure things out on your own. But if we take a look at the trailer here, and I will leave a link in the description below, you're going to see that this is just going to get deeper and deeper with more puzzles, more moving parts, and more things to think about, just like any good puzzle game would. And honestly, using the Talos Principle and Portal as the inspirations, two of my favorite puzzle games of all time, I can't stress enough just how exciting this game truly is. And if for some strange reason you've never played the Talos Principle, I'm pretty sure you've all played Portal, you have to play that game as well. But you'll see there is a battery in the game. There's so many different components, and I want you to discover all of them on your own. That's why I'm only showing you the first 3 test chambers. You're going to see there's 10 in total, and basically the first 2 are absolutely easy to understand, so no real spoilers there. But anything after test chamber 3, the footage is basically going to solve the puzzle for you, and you don't want to have that happen. And the best part is, if you do have a Virtual Boy and a flash cart, probably a pretty limited audience out there if I'm being honest, you're going to be able to play this on your own Virtual Boy. But still to this day, that thing, no matter what I try, will give me a migraine in about 10 minutes, and I rarely if ever use it. But definitely check this game out if you have emulation available, which everyone would. It is 100% worth playing, even if you kind of lose the overall VR headset kind of vibe going on here. But hopefully soon this will work in something like Oculus Quest, or it'll work in something like the 3DS with the 3D imaging from the actual emulation. We'll just have to wait and see. But now the real question is, in test chamber 3, how do we get the buddy cube, definitely not the trademark companion cube, through the wall and onto that pressure plate to open up the door and leave the test chamber? Because you can tell if we actually pick that cube up, you're not going to be able to keep the door open, and you can't access the portal. So the question is, how do you do that? Now I have solved this, and again, I just basically got rid of all of that capture, but leave me a comment down below and you tell me how it's done. I'd be curious just if you follow along, if you're able to figure out how this puzzle works or not. And don't forget, you can look up and you can look down, so that might be important in the future. But honestly, Test Chamber has absolutely everything I need to want to make a video about it. Not only is it new and inventive, it's also on a piece of unloved hardware, and it's also a technical showcase proving that some old hardware can do things you never thought possible. And that's just because it's been decades since the Virtual Boy left store shelves, and in those intervening decades, some like-minded people have actually worked on it and figured out that you can get a lot more out of the hardware that probably even Nintendo realized back in the day. So trust me, if you have a Virtual Boy, this is a must play, and if you don't, I still think it is a must play just for the game mechanics on emulation. Test Chamber is just straight up magic, it's straight up fun, and it is straight up a technical showcase, and I love it. I'll see you guys next time. Bye bye.